General Hospital spoilers reveal that every time I think Port Charles has settled down, something fresh comes along that reminds me why I tune in day after day, year after year. Right now, the arrival of Joe is stirring up everything in the most unexpected ways, and I cannot stop thinking about how this one man might quietly upend the lives of so many people I've grown to care about like old friends. Let me start with what we know so far. Joe is heading to Port Charles sometime in May, and the latest updates suggest he could very well be the biological father of little Phoebe, the sweet baby that Brook Lynn and Chase have been raising with such tender care. I remember how my heart ached when Delilah showed up injured on that sidewalk and later passed away after giving birth. Brook Lynn and Chase stepped in without hesitation, opening their home and their hearts to that innocent child. They have been building a beautiful little family, learning to be parents together, and you can see the quiet joy in their eyes every time they look at Phoebe. For them, this is not just temporary foster care, it feels like destiny. Yet, here comes Joe, and suddenly the ground beneath them starts to shift. What makes this twist so powerful is that Joe himself does not even know Phoebe exists. He is arriving in town searching for Delilah, the woman he clearly shared something deep and meaningful with, only to discover that she is gone and that she left behind a daughter he never knew about. That kind of revelation carries the weight of years of missed moments, and I can already picture the stunned look on his face when the truth finally lands. I have been turning this over in my mind, wondering how the story will unfold. If Joe really is the biological father, does that automatically give him rights that could challenge the life Brook Lynn and Chase are trying to build? The Social Services Department has been doing its job, searching for any living relatives, and so far no one has stepped forward except the couple who have already proven they can love Phoebe like their own. But blood ties have a way of complicating even the kindest intentions in Port Charles, don't they? I keep asking myself whether Joe will arrive full of anger or full of sorrow. Will he demand custody right away, or will he take a step back and watch how lovingly Brook Lynn cradles that baby before he makes any decisions? The writers have planted these little clues so cleverly that I find myself replaying recent scenes in my head, looking for hints I might have missed. One of the most intriguing pieces comes from what Christina has been sharing lately. She has dropped a few unexpected comments that seem to point toward Joe in ways that feel almost too coincidental. Christina has always had that sharp instinct for family secrets, and the way she has been talking lately makes me think she might be the one who connects the dots first. Maybe she overhears something or stumbles across an old letter or photograph that ties Joe directly to Delilah. Whatever the case, her information feels like the spark that could set off a whole chain of events. I love how the show uses characters like Christina to move the story forward without making it feel forced. She is not meddling for the sake of drama. She genuinely cares about the people around her, and that makes her discoveries hit harder. If Christina is the one who helps Joe understand what happened to Delilah and the child she left behind, it adds such a warm layer of humanity to what could otherwise become a cold legal battle. At the same time, I cannot ignore how this situation is quietly reshaping everything for Brook Lynn. She has wanted to be a mother for so long, and you can see how deeply that desire runs through her. There was a time when her own family complications made her question whether she would ever have this chance, and now Phoebe has given her a glimpse of the life she has dreamed about. Chase has been right there beside her, steady and supportive, the kind of partner any woman would be grateful for. Together they have created a safe, loving home, and I truly believe they are the best thing that could have happened to that little girl. Yet the possibility that Joe could arrive and claim his daughter introduces a tension that feels both heartbreaking and strangely hopeful. What if Joe turns out to be a decent man who simply wants to know his child? Would Brook Lynn and Chase fight him? Or would they find a way to share the responsibility? I have seen the show handle these blended family stories before, and they almost always surprise me with grace notes I never expected. The timing could not be more perfect. Joe is set to arrive just as Port Charles is dealing with so many other heavy matters. We have Cullum making threats toward Britt, and those two gunmen who are still out there somewhere, their secrets threatening to explode at any moment. Jordan is wrestling with the aftermath of her own trauma, and Willow has been facing questions about her mental health that make my heart ache for her. In the middle of all that chaos, here comes Joe with his own quiet storm. It feels like the writers are reminding us that life in Port Charles never slows down. One problem does not wait for another to resolve. That constant pressure is what keeps me coming back, because it mirrors the way real life piles challenges on top of one another, yet somehow the characters keep finding strength in each other. I have my own little theory about how this might play out, and I know it might be completely off base, but that is half the fun of being a longtime viewer. What if Joe arrives not as an enemy, but as someone who needs healing himself? Maybe his search for Delilah was born out of regret for time lost, and discovering Phoebe could be the second chance he never thought he would get. Instead of storming in and demanding rights, perhaps he sits down with Brook Lynn and Chase, and they talk like adults who all want what is best for the child. That would be a refreshing change from some of the custody battles we have seen in the past, where anger and pride took center stage. Or maybe Joe has ties to Ethan that we have not yet uncovered, given how Ethan has been connected to Tracy and that mysterious phone call under the dock. The name Fitzpatrick has that Irish lilt to it, and Ethan has been living in Ireland, so the pieces could fit together in ways that surprise everyone. I keep wondering if Joe might even step into a professional role at the hospital, perhaps as a psychiatrist recommended by Kevin, especially with so many characters struggling with trauma and emotional burdens right now. Port Charles could certainly use another steady voice in the mental health department, and Joe's arrival might fill that need while stirring up the personal drama at the same time. Whatever path the story takes, I feel the heat rising already. Brook Lynn's dream of motherhood is hanging in a delicate balance, and every new update makes me lean forward in my chair a little more. I have watched her grow from a young woman navigating family expectations into someone who is ready to build her own legacy of love. Phoebe represents that future for her, and the thought that it could be taken away feels like a genuine threat to everything she has worked toward. Yet I also believe the show has taught me over the decades that love is bigger than biology. Look at how many characters have raised children who were not theirs by blood and still created unbreakable bonds. Brook Lynn and Chase have already proven their hearts are in the right place. If Joe enters the picture, maybe the real test will be whether they can expand that circle of love rather than fight to close it. I find myself smiling when I think about how these storylines keep evolving. Just when I thought the focus was shifting toward other threats in town, along comes this deeply personal revelation that touches the very heart of what General Hospital has always been about: family, second chances, and the messy, beautiful ways people find their way back to each other. Joe does not know about Phoebe yet, but when he learns the truth, it is going to change the calculations for everyone involved. Christina's unexpected insights might be the key that unlocks the next chapter, and I cannot wait to see how she chooses to share what she knows. The writers have set the stage so skillfully that every scene feels loaded with possibility. There is something comforting about watching a show that has been part of my life for so long and still manages to feel fresh. The actors bring such warmth and depth to these roles that even the most surprising twists feel earned. I have laughed with these characters, cried with them, and cheered when they overcame obstacles that seemed impossible. Right now, the air in Port Charles is thick with anticipation. Joe is coming, and with him comes the chance for new beginnings, painful truths, and maybe even a few reconciliations that none of us saw coming. Brook Lynn's future as a mother hangs in the balance, yet I have faith that the story will honor the love she and Chase have already poured into Phoebe.